All right, before we get started, I just gotta say something. I told you. I told you not to doubt Coach Prime. All right, we're back here on the Sort of Sports Podcast, episode 56 now. And, it's been a minute. We were doing Barbenheimer last time I saw everyone. By saw everyone, I mean everyone listened to me, which, if you are listening to me, I appreciate it. It's just, the tellings of a rambling man. I think it'd be a proper way to say that. I'm not. I think so. So, last time was all movie based. It was the Barbenheimer episode, and now truly gonna be all NFL based. I don't have much to say about FIBA other than Anthony Edwards been balling out, but it's the Timberwolves, so we'll see exactly where that goes and if that elevates and escalates somewhere into him being successful. But to be perfectly honest, guys, I highly doubt it because the Timberwolves are just a badly run organization, and so I would love to see Anthony Edwards have great success with them, but we will see exactly what goes on there with the Timberwolves. I wouldn't get too excited. I know people are like, oh my gosh, this is Anthony Edwards. He's arrived. He's going to go on to, win MVP this year. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Anthony Edwards' talent has never been something I question. It's just the team around him. So maybe we'll see a Ja Morant Grizzlies situation with them. Well, the first, not what lately he's been having with Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. I'm talking about back when the Grizzlies and Ja were the cool new thing before, 2022 season into the 2023 season, they became everybody's big hatred. See, here I said I wasn't going to talk about the NBA. I literally started off pod saying, yeah, I'm not. Here I am. I haven't even watched that many new movies. I've been pretty busy. This is the first podcast I've ever recorded from my dorm. So for all you that like to keep track of where I am in my life, I'm not in Studio T1000. I'm in the dorm. I've traded out the posters of Terminator and Beverly Hills Cop now for Clint Eastwood to my right, and above me is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which all you listeners know, I have never actually seen that Tarantino movie. I just thought the poster was super cool, and so now I have it. Hopefully, I really like it, right? I did watch 2 movies in the span of 3 days, though, recently. I watched Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I know some people say is better than the first one. Personally, I do not think so. But Genevieve, when we were watching it, she's like, do you think this is going to go in the Hall of Fame? I got to think on it, because a part of me really likes it, but I think a part of me is always going to hold against it that I don't think it's as good as the first one. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's going to be a tough one when Hall of Fame time comes around, because I do really like Beverly Hills Cop 2. I don't think it's as good as the first one. And then I watched Get Shorty after reading the Elmore Leonard novel, Get Shorty. And the novel, I think, was much stronger. I liked the movie. I thought the casting of John Travolta as Chili Palmer was excellent, but I just preferred the novel. Overall, looking at all the movies, it looks like we're going to have about 15, I think it's going to be about right, movies into the Hall of Fame. We had 10 last year, but I've watched more movies this year, so I think 15 seems about right. I'm not exactly sure what yet, but I have been trying to get a concept, so then when January rolls around, I'm ready to go, instead of sitting there for hours going, well, is this going in? Is this not? I've been trying to be on top of it. As far as movies going on, The Killers trailer just The Killer, a new David Fincher movie. A trailer just released for that. If you have any interest in that, it's going to be on Netflix on November 10th. I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be really good. I did not see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem in theaters. Didn't have a chance. Or Blue Beetle. I haven't seen either of those in theaters. But I'll try to catch those by the end of the year so they're eligible for the 2023 bank. They can bank whoever they want to. H&R Block, Farmers Credit, whoever they want to be with. I get it. Farmers Credit. It's Farmers Citizen. I'm sure most people listening to this podcast don't even know what Farmers Citizen Bank is. There's one in my hometown. So, my mom and Genevieve know it, but I don't think anybody... If I have any listeners that are not... Well, if I have any listeners not from my hometown, I just appreciate you in general. I should pander to you more, because, that's... Wow. Warms my heart. But The Killer is going to come out. David Fincher, it's going to be on Netflix. That's going to be eligible for Best Movie 2023. Killers of the Flower Moon. They did delay Dune Part 2. For those of you that follow on Twitter, you could hear me screaming through your phones because I was very, very upset by that. So, Blue Beetle, Teenage Ninja Turtles, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Killer. Then maybe I'll see Napoleon, depending on what I hear. Because, with those big historical epics, either it's an amazing movie that everyone needs to go see and it's awesome and epic and great, or it's just super pompous and full of itself and pretentious and it's not really that interesting and it's way too long. That's really the only two ways those movies go. We'll have to see what Ridley Scott's been cooking up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else movie-wise upcoming. I'm going to look this up real quick because I'm curious. Coming 2023. Oh, yeah, The Marvels comes out for everyone who cares. Me not being one of them. I don't have any interest in seeing that. Outlaw Johnny Black will be fun, from the guys who made Black Dynamite. The Creator, that's the one. That was the other one I was forgetting. Yeah, the new Gareth Edwards movie, The Creator, with John David Washington. That looks like it's going to be really interesting. I really like the cinematography based off just the trailers. So let's hope they didn't put all the best looking shots in the trailers because it looks really cool. I know a lot of people are really excited for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I think everybody who's listened to this podcast for a while knows I'm not going to go see it. I'm not a horror movie guy, but my sister cannot wait. So she can enjoy that. I will not be inviting her on the podcast to talk about it because I don't care. So I know a lot of people are excited for this Poor Things movie with Emma Stone. Somebody big directed this. It's the director of The Favorite. That's what it was. I don't want to try to pronounce his last name because I know I can't do it right. Oh, yeah, and Ferrari. Ferrari could be cool. I don't know if I'll see Ferrari by the end of the year, though. It comes out Christmas. Well, my dad might want to go see that. If my dad wants to go see it, I will make a trip to the theater before the end of the year. If not, it's not going to be eligible for 2023. So, what? We got... What's really the only things... Okay, so best movies of 2023. We know the top three are Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Across the Spider-Verse. Guardians 3 is up there, too. So there's been a lot of great movies this year, and I think Killers of the Flower Moon, The Killer, got good opportunities. Aquaman 2 I'll probably go see. Not exactly sure it's going to be one of the best movies. Ferrari will be fun. So what, I got 4 or 5 more movies? Well, and then like I said, I'll see Blue Beetle and Teenage Ninja Turtles. I'll probably rent those. So, yeah, when I think about it, a lot more than I thought. Even with Dune Part 2 being delayed, still a lot of good stuff. Honestly, I think I'm most excited for The Killer more than Killers of the Flower Moon. Because, I'm excited for Killers of the Flower Moon. But, I have a concept of what's going to go on in that because it's the David Grann novel. My mom read the book. I read, the first 3 chapters. And The Killer, I have no concept of what's going to go on. I just know Fincher's going to cook. So I think that'll be really interesting to see what goes on. But here I am, rambling. Like I said, I should really retitle the podcast The Tales of a Rambling Man. Because that's... it is the Sort of Sports podcast. I guess I had some vision then because, not always the most focused here. I will say, on another note, Colorado football, the best team in college football. Also the best looking team. The jerseys are beautiful. Anybody who argues with you clearly is colorblind. For all my colorblind homies out there, I'm sorry for the insult. But, you just can't appreciate the full beauty of the Colorado uniforms. Okay, on the note of making fun of colorblind people, which, could ruin my career, and I have a colorblind friend, and I'm sorry, Dylan. I was just kidding. Don't want to make enemies of colorblind people. What's going on to the NFL predictions? We're going to start, we're going to do, my buddy Matt was like, you can go through and predict every game who wins and loses. And I ended with the same Super Bowl. But it is a lot of work to do that. And I think it's kind of weird because then it's like, every time you see Raiders-Jaguars, you're like, well, the Jaguars should win this. But there's always the chance they get the upset. So I personally prefer not using Playoff Predictor and just picking random records and going with it. Just whatever numbers sound nice. That's the way I've done it for years. And while his way is a little more I don't want to say into it. I don't know what the word would be. it is a little more definitive because it's like you're genuinely looking at all 17 games they play and picking it. A part of me is like, I think there's more room for error there than just going, 13 wins sounds right for the Eagles. And that brings us to where we're going to start, and that is the NFC East. The Eagles, I have first place going 13-4. The Giants second place going 10-7. The Commanders third place going 8-9, and the Cowboys fourth going 7-10. I know, all the Cowboys fans screaming. I think everybody here knows I'm a Cowboys hater. And on top of that, okay, I will say I liked the Trey Lance trade. I think that's very interesting. I'm not sure what's going to become of that, but sometimes things just seem to line up a little too perfectly in the NFL. And to me, they start off really weak, and then all of a sudden, they're putting Dak as the backup, and Trey Lance is starting. They start winning more games, but it's too little too late. They go 7-10. I feel like that's going to be the story of the season for the Cowboys. They have a great defense. Micah Parsons, one of the best defensive players in the league. Trayvon Diggs also in that conversation. But I don't really like their offense. I think Pollard still has something left to prove. I think Pollard's a good back. He's not an elite back. So I don't really believe in their offense, and the Eagles are far and away the best team in this division, no questions asked. I think the Giants are a better team than the Cowboys, offensively especially. I think the defense the Cowboys haven't beat, but offensively, I expect a big year from Saquon because he's wanting to prove himself. And Danny Dimes, I don't expect to fall off. I like the addition of Darren Waller for them. I think the Giants are going to be better than them. The Commanders, I'm not writing off the idea that the Commies get much better with Eric Bieniemy. I picked up Sam Howell in a dynasty league off the waiver wires because there's a chance he pops off. I don't think he's going to. I don't think Sam Howell's magically going to become Mahomes. But I wouldn't completely write them off. And so the team I think every team here has a chance to have a winning record. I'm being genuinely honest. I just think the best bet for me is the Eagles, and I would rather pick the Giants than the Cowboys. So that's what I did. I think the Commanders at 8-9 just feels right. Let's go to the worst division in football, the NFC South. Well, I don't think the AFC South's pretty terrible, but at least they have a team that's like a true playoff team in the Jaguars. The NFC South, I took the Panthers to win it because I like, going to bed happy at night, and so I have them at 7-9-1 because, it's fun to pick a tie because it just feels like a very NFC South thing to happen. The Buccaneers in second place at 6-10-1. They'll tie with the Panthers. I have the Falcons at 6-11 and the Saints at 5-12. I know some people are getting excited about the Saints. I think delusional is the word I would use to describe them. I get, Derek Carr's there. The coaching staff isn't horrendous. Alvin Kamara's only going to be out for a couple games. Michael Thomas might still have something. Chris Olave is really good. Yeah, I get all that. But Derek Carr was throwing the ball to Devontae Adams last year. He's had big receivers before. I'm not a Derek Carr hater. I'm not a Derek Carr lover. I see the way he is. He's a little above average. Honestly, he might be average. And I don't think the rest of the Saints team is going to carry him to victory. I don't think he's going to elevate the team, and I don't think the team's going to elevate him. I think they're just going to be in mediocrity together. That's the end of it. Falcons had it third, 6-11. I really think any of these teams could be around 8 wins, and that'll win the division. But I just picked the Panthers to make myself happy. I don't think any of these teams are really that different. I could see the Falcons winning 8 games and being in the playoffs. I just don't expect any of these teams to have double-digit wins. My mind would be blown any of these teams get 10 wins on the year. Falcons obviously got Bijan Robinson, but you got to see what Desmond Ritter's going to do, being as it took him 4 games to throw a touchdown pass last year. At least I'm pretty sure it's a stat I read. I'm 95% sure. If I'm wrong, somebody, comment and tell me I'm wrong and I'm an idiot. But you at least made it 10 minutes into the video and you listen to me ramble about movies. So I got you. Who's the real loser here? All right, so the Buccaneers, I would love to see do well. Big Baker fan right here. But I'm not going to bet on that. I think there's a decent chance the Buccaneers end up drafting Drake May at the NFL draft next year. I wouldn't say Caleb Williams because he's going to be a future Arizona Cardinal. The Cardinals are going to be awful, and they're going to get Caleb Williams. That's just my already prediction for next year's draft. And then the Panthers, number 1. I like this team the best out of everybody, obviously, because it's the team I like best in general. I'm feeling good about Bryce Young. I know he's a little short, but I like the supporting cast around him. I think Jonathan Mingo can do some interesting stuff. Got to see what Chark's got in him. Maybe Terrence Marshall Jr. is going to show why we drafted him in the second round last year. Adam Thielen, I'm just going to say that. Hopefully he works out. I picked him up in a fantasy league in like the last round, just in case Bryce Young throws at him every play. Tight end wise, we got, oh crap, what's his name from the Bengals? Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing, guys. This is embarrassing. Who is the Panthers tight end? Hayden Hurst. There it is. Hayden Hurst. My guy Tommy Tremble's now third string. That's rough. Wide receivers. It looks like we're running the start Thielen and Chark 1 and 2, and then Marshall and Laviska Shenault. Oh, sorry, my bad. 3 is Mingo. Yeah, so it's Thielen, Chark, Mingo, and then your fourth receiver will be Terrence Marshall Jr., and then Laviska after him. Miles Sanders. I do like the pickup of Miles Sanders. Very happy with that. I think the thing for the Panthers will be the defense. Brian Burns got a chance to really show people this year what he's about. I like him wearing 0. Yes, it makes my jersey no longer accurate, but I love Brian Burns. I think he's going to have a great season. Shaq Thompson, obviously a legit player. He can go out and get some big hits. And let's see, last year he came in, played pretty well. Third season, maybe J.C. Horn's really going to pop off this year. I would love for that. So that's my hope. We open up the season against the Falcons, and hopefully we get a win to start the year. So that'll be exciting. But, yeah, they took the Panthers to win the division because, sometime I just got to make myself happy. All right, NFC North. First, I'm taking the Lions 11-6. I'm doing it this year. I'm owning it this year. I'm owning the Lions. I don't think I'm bad luck for football. I'm a curse for baseball. Yet, we haven't talked about baseball yet on the pod. That's because I don't want to curse anybody going into September. We're literally not going to talk about baseball until the playoffs. I'm holding off. I don't want to curse anybody. I talk about Shohei so much, then he gets hurt. I don't want to talk. I don't want to curse anybody. I just want to see some teams do well. I'm going to be going to the Guardians game Tuesday, and hopefully they win. Okay. That's all I'm saying about baseball. Don't want to say anything wrong. Okay. Back to the Lions. The Lions 11-6. This is their year to break through. I don't really think the NFC North is going to be too strong. The Vikings did get my guy Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator, which I love. But I think offensively they're going to struggle this year. It feels like every other year the Vikings do well. Last year they did well. Year before that they struggled. Year before that they did well. Year before that they struggled. It just seems like every year they go back and forth, like the Cameo song. Back and forth. That's a reference from like what they used to say in like 2K17, I think. One of the announcers would do that if the game kept going back and forth. He said it reminds me of the old Cameo song, back and forth. I've actually never heard the song. I just remember him saying that, and so that's why. This is really meta. I'm quoting somebody quoting a song. This is wild. We're truly living in the 21st century right now. Okay. Okay, so the Vikings I had at 6-11 at the bottom of the division. I know this is my craziest takes. Craziest take right here. Vikings at the bottom of the division, 6-11. Packers third in the division, 8-9. Second is the Bears, 10-7. I expect a big year out of Fields. I like him with DJ Moore. I think the Bears are going to try to play winning football for the first time since Jay Cutler, which we all knew at the time playing winning football with Jay Cutler probably wasn't going to work out. So Jay Cutler with the deep ball, that was my go-to quarterback in Madden 25. What a legend. But I do think this is the Lions' year to break through. I really like what the Lions got going on. Amon-Ra, when Jameson Williams comes back, he's going to be legit. Running back-wise, I'm very intrigued to see what Jahmyr Gibbs does for them. I think everybody was shocked that they took him that early, and so let's hope it works out. See what Big Daddy Dan Campbell's been cooking up the Campbell soup. Defensively, there's no questions with this team. I think, Hutchinson is obviously the spearhead of the defense. They've got themselves an exciting defense, and I think, Goff has been to the Super Bowl. Can he do it again? We'll see when we go to my playoff predictions. But, yeah, I'm taking the Lions to win the NFC North. NFC West, number one team, Seahawks 12-5. I don't really think this is a hot take. I think the Seahawks are going to be really good this year. I expect them to take another step up from last year. I don't think the Geno thing was a fluke. I love all the offseason things they did. Offensively, I really like the pickup of Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think that was huge for them. And I just think this team is really good. Like Geno Smith, Zach Charbonnet, not exactly how you say it. But, they drafted him. He's going to run some for Kenneth Walker. I wonder if they're going to do dual running backs, kind of like the Browns used to do with Kareem Hunt, and Nick Chubb. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigbo. That trio is scary. I'm not a big Lockett guy, but still, that's a hell of a set right there. Tight end, Noah Fant. I like Noah Fant. He's more of a blocker, but I think it'll work well. And defensively, they got the stud, Rick Woolen. Legit player. I think a lot of people spent last year talking about Sauce Gardner, me included, because I love Sauce Gardner. But you can't deny that Rick Woolen is pretty much just as talented as Sauce. He just plays for the Seahawks unless people are paying attention because it's not a New York team. Even though they made the playoffs last year and the Jets didn't. I mean, Woolen is crazy good, and I expect when they go 12-5 this year for more people to be talking about him. Also, Bobby Wagner went back. For those of you that didn't remember that, Bobby Wagner went back to the Seahawks, so how cute. That's always fun. But yeah, the Seahawks are going to be real legit this year. A part of me wants to take them to be in the Super Bowl. I really like what this team's got going on. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. I think it's crazy that they traded Russ and they got better. Second is the Niners. Best coach team in football, best run organization in football. I don't care what you say about the Trey Lance trade. Obviously, that never worked out the way they expected it to, but they got their guy in Brock Purdy. I think that's going to work well for them this year. I do expect a little sluggish out of the gate, but I think they're still going to be a legit team, and when playoffs come around, they're a popular pick for the Super Bowl because they're the Niners and they're legit. Third, I have the Rams at 7-10. I think that they had the magical year where it pretty much felt like from the start of the year they were going to be in the Super Bowl. I think Quinn literally picked them to be in the Super Bowl against the Bills at the beginning of the year that year. And they were just good the whole year. And I remember even my dad said, he's like, man, those Rams are fun to watch. Because they were the team the NFL wanted. They wanted a big money LA team they could put on prime time, and that's what they had. And even though it should be the Chargers, but whatever. And I don't think they're going to have that again until they retool. I don't think running it back with a similar core is going to make them have a winning record. I expect after this year to them to retool a little bit. I don't think Stafford's a problem. I just don't think the rest of the team is that legit. I mean, Cooper Kupp, really the only offensive weapon I'm that interested in. Running back-wise, they're doing pretty much nothing. So I'm not expecting a huge season from Cam Akers, I can tell you that. Fourth in the division, I got the Cardinals at 4-13. That's generous. I don't like what they got going on at all. Obviously, I got new staff in there. To be honest, I think this is going to be a retooling year, and they're going to shift everybody out next year. I think the staff is coming in saying, okay, screw this season. Whatever. Let's make sure we don't want these guys that we have. And the next offseason, we'll trade Kyler and we'll trade James Conner, and we're going to completely retool and draft and get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., and we're going to run with that. So that's what the Cardinals are looking to do. For the NFC playoff teams, I got the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Panthers as the division winners, and the wild card getters are the Niners, Giants, and Bears. That means that, I was going to say the Packers really like the big one, and the well, I've already talked about I'm not making Cowboys. So, yeah, wild card teams, Niners, Giants, Bears. All right, let's move over to the AFC. It's the AFC East. I have the Bills going 11-6, winning the division. This is going to be a really competitive division, the AFC East. The thing is, there's such a big shift when you go from the NFC to the AFC. I know I said for years that I think the Niners could run the NFC. Well, then the Eagles popped up out of nowhere. So now I just feel like the NFC Championship for the next 3 years is going to be Eagles-Niners. I mean, a part of me thinks the Seahawks could be like the sneaky team that sneaks in, or the Lions could be the sneaky team that sneaks in, but if the NFC Championship is the Niners-Eagles this year, I'm not really going to be shocked, I'm going to be honest. And even though it was the divisional last year, it felt like, to me, it was the real NFC Championship. But, I'm hoping the Lions or Seahawks can sneak in because I like those teams a lot too. But back to the AFC. The AFC is just full of powerhouses. So the AFC East, I have the Bills winning it 11-6. I have the Dolphins second at 10-7. The Jets at 9-8, and the Patriots at 6-11. I don't understand why people are acting like the Jets can be better than the Dolphins. Lest we forget, by week 7 of last year, people were talking about the Dolphins being in the Super Bowl. They looked awesome. Before Tua was going down, he looked like an MVP winner. Not candidate, like winner. And everybody was like, wow, that 2020 draft is stacked. Herbert, Burrow, and Tua in the first, in the top 6 picks. That's insane. I'm like, yeah, that was a crazy good draft. And, because the talk for years was like the Dolphins regretted passing on Herbert, but then Tua was doing great. If Tua can stay healthy, this Dolphins team could be in the Super Bowl. I'm being legit. Like, they're really good, really talented. They got one of the best wide receivers in the game in Tyreek Hill. And, gosh, I don't know what more you want. I think defensively they made a nice move going out, getting Ramsey. So I think this Dolphins team is really good. Tua can stay healthy. Part of me thinks they could be in the Super Bowl. We'll have to see what happens this season. Third, I got the Jets 9-8. You know, I like the move of I don't know if I like the move of getting Rodgers. Obviously, getting Rodgers at quarterback is an upgrade from what were they even doing last year? They started with Zach Wilson. It was Mike White for a minute. Who was doing the majority of games last year? I can't even remember. I mean, Zach, I know, played a good amount. Oh, Tim Boyle. Yeah, that's so weird. There was like this Jets resurgence, even though the quarterback play was pretty awful. That's weird. That's really weird to think about. Okay. I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers guy. Everybody knows that. I think he won 2 faulty MVPs. You know, the 2021 one should have went to Cup. No, sorry. The 2022 one should have went to Cup. No. Why am I... Gosh. It's messed up the years. The 2021 one should have went to Cup. The 2021 should have went to Derrick Henry. But regardless, Rodgers, I think the Jets are going to be pretty good. But it stuns me how the Broncos and the Jets both sat around and said, we're going to build a powerhouse AFC team. We're going to, be a Super Bowl team. We're going to go get this great quarterback and shove him in with this young core, and we're going to go far. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing, Broncos, in a division that involves the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders, who are always a pain? And you're like, yeah, we're going to build this powerhouse team. And then the Jets are doing the same thing in a division that involves the Patriots, who are always a pain, and the Dolphins and Bills, who are both crazy good teams. I'm like, I don't understand why a team that's in like a crappy division, like the Colts, never says we should go out and get Rodgers. I mean, I get you can't change your location. Different franchises are in different mindsets. The Colts can't magically have the Jets roster. I understand. It's just weird to me. All these teams that try to build these random powerhouses out of nowhere are in your hardest divisions. I'm like, this is a hard thing to do. I don't think it's magically going to click and the Jets are going to win 12 games this year. I think they're going to go 9-8. That's pretty good, but I got news for you guys. That's not playoffs in the AFC. So, Patriots is 6-11. This could be a make or break year for Mac Jones. I'm not going to say it is because I'm not Bill Belichick and I'm not Robert Kraft. But I think there's a chance here if he really underperforms that they're going to move on, which is weird because I think he's a perfect fit there. But, I get it. They went out and made some moves. But I'll be honest, if, we're sitting here week 12 and I'm talking about how the Patriots have only lost 2 games this year and that they look like a Super Bowl team, I'm not going to be shocked. Yeah, I picked them to be last, but that's because I have to be logical based off what I saw from last year. But there's a complete chance that Bill and Mac, sat and drank, what does Bill Belichick drink? Probably glasses of ice-cold water while staring at the fire. It's probably water with Jack Daniels in it. That's what he does, is he just waters down whiskey. I know it's very weird, but that seems like something Bill would do just because it's weird. Him and Max sit there and, he talks to him about how this is the year, da-da-da, and then they, stare at the fire and throw some paper in it that says, this is our year, and it crumples up as they laugh maniacally. It's like some horrifying scene. And then, they because they did that, they go on to have a great year. The Patriots are weird like that, so I don't want to bet against them, but I also can't really bet, be like, all right, the Patriots are going to win 13 games this year and go on to be in the Super Bowl. And then at the end of the season, you guys put me in a mental hospital because they're not even my favorite team. I can't say crazy things. You only say crazy things about your favorite team. So that's what I did earlier by putting the Panthers as division winners. And when I put Bryce Young as Rookie of the Year. Whoops, did I say it out loud? So we'll see what goes on to the Patriots. I'm not going to completely write them off. AFC South, this one's very easy. The Jaguars are going to go 12-5, win the division. That's the best record in the AFC because they have the worst division. They have to play all those teams twice. And the Jaguars are going to be really good this year. I think he knows where he wants to do with this team. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He knows what he's doing. He's got Trevor Lawrence, who's really good. I think Trevor can make an MVP push this year. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he could be in the conversation. I'm being honest. I think Trevor is going to have a big year. And I think last year was a sign of that. And I think the Jaguars are pretty much going to run this division for a while until the Texans get their stuff together and the Titans rebuild and the Colts. We'll see with the Colts. Second, I have the Colts at 6-11. I like Anthony Richardson. I do. I don't want the Panthers to regret passing on him. I really hope he's not as good as Bryce Young. I hope Bryce Young is better. But, I would love for this quarterback class to be like the 2020 class where just everyone is successful. Bryce Young is like Joe Burrow, number 1 pick. Amazing. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then, Anthony Richardson can be like Herbert, where he's very successful, but his team just isn't as good, even though he himself has the talent to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then, gosh, am I just writing off C.J. Stroud already? Yeah, I am. He's I don't think he's going to be Tua. I can tell you that. Just saying. Let me look at. Am I forgetting anybody big? Who's going to be the Tua of the class? Let's go with Stetson Bennett, baby, for the Rams. Okay, I'm being legit. There is a world where Matt Stafford gets hurt and Stetson Bennett goes on to play for the Rams, and I absolutely lose my mind, and I would love it so much. Oh, my gosh, I would love it. I don't want Matt Stafford to get hurt. I'm not wishing injury on him, but I would love for Stetson Bennett to become the starting quarterback for the Rams and do well. Like, I would lose my mind. Because the only world where I root for the LA Rams is if Stetson Bennett is the starter. That would be so amazing. Also, I will say Dorian Thompson-Robinson for the Browns did look great preseason. I never put too much stock in preseason, but gosh, he was legit. Fine, we'll say Stroud can be Tua, but I don't think Stroud's going to be that good. Whatever. But yeah, the Colts, I do think Richardson could be interesting. I have him on a fantasy team. We'll see what goes on. He's my backup, but I still have him. Third is the Texans at 4-13. I hate the Texans gear. My mother and I were talking about this the other day. So when they designed the Texans, they should have went to the Tennessee Titans and paid them however much money they wanted and just got the old Oilers stuff because that stuff is beautiful. But they didn't. And their owner said, we're going to be in Texas, so let's be the Texans, which is so stupid to me because there's another team in Texas. So you're not going to appeal to everyone in Texas when there's already the Cowboys, which makes more sense for Texans than Texans because no one in Texas refers to them as a Texan. People think of themselves as Cowboys. I mean, listen to any Cody Johnson song. He doesn't say I'm a proud Texan. He says, I'm a cowboy from Texas. And Cody Johnson is the most Texas boy other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is the most Texas boy. He's the Texas rattlesnake. Hell yeah. But Cody Johnson, Steve Austin, the definitive people of Texas, they both don't call themselves Texans, but they call themselves Cowboys. And so, just saying. Whatever. Houston Texans hate their stuff. Maybe my goal is to become rich enough I buy the Texans and completely rebrand. And their jerseys are also awful. I don't know how they messed up red, white, and blue so bad. The navy is like too dark, and the red is too dark, so nothing pops. It all just looks mushy and gross. And it's a fitting team for C.J. Stroud because it's gross. Wow. Okay. I didn't realize how far I've delved into C.J. Stroud hatership, but there it was. Wow. Okay. Watch, in like 3 years, I'll be telling you as my favorite quarterback. It's like Lamar all over again. I never hated on Lamar that hard, though. It was pre-podcast, Ryan. It was a different beast. I did kind of hate on Lamar, I have to admit. I was like, oh, yeah, he'll never win a playoff game. Pre-podcast, Ryan he was a wild man. You guys are lucky. You met me in a much better stage of my life. Post-podcast, Ryan. Well, not post. It's still... The Titans I have at 2-15. I think the Titans are going to be really bad. I think poor quarterback play will be the story of the season for them. I like Derrick Henry, but I think it's starting to wind down for him, and I don't think he can carry this team to a 500 record anymore. So I think it's kind of done for the Titans. We're going to have to look into rebuilding, and I don't think Will Levis is the answer. So, okay, here we go. AFC North. You know what? I know I was doing it in the same order I did the NFC with East, South, Northwest. But I'm going to do AFC West before North because I think we all know the North is the most competitive division. And living in Ohio, up by Cleveland now, because I was living in like the center of the state, but now at college I live more by Cleveland. So, like, I'm literally 20 minutes from Cleveland. And I'm going to be watching every Browns game this season because all my friends are Browns guys. So, like, I'm going to have the Panthers pulled up on my phone while we're watching the Browns game on a big TV. So I will watch every game for the Browns. So I am really rooting for them to have a have a good record and have some place of winning football because I love Nick Chubb. He's my favorite running back in the game. So I hope things come together for the Browns, but I don't think they're going to be very good. But we'll get to that in a moment. We're doing the AFC North last because, you know what? It's my show, damn it. It's my show. I'm going to do what I want. All right. AFC West. Got the Chiefs, number 1, 11-6. I know, crazy hot takes out here. Crazy hot takes. 11-6. That's kind of a bad record for the Chiefs, but I expect a little bit of Super Bowl hangover. You got to. They've never went back-to-back. Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls, but he had to take a 2-year break. So, we'll see. Chargers second at 10-7. I want to see the Chargers make the playoffs again. I want to see it again. Don't like Staley. That's the problem, is I don't like Brandon Staley at all. I think he's a bad coach for Herbert, but I think this team is too good to fail. So, 10-7. Third is the Raiders at 8-9. I don't think this team's going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be great, but they're going to win some games. They're going to, they're just going to edge them out, and they're going to get it off. They're going to be the team that, kicks 5 field goals a game and ends up beating you by 1 point. That's just going to be, there's going to be a weird team, but they'll do it. Fourth is going to be the Broncos 6-11. I'm not buying the Sean Payton resurgence thing. Well, not him resurging, but making Russ resurge. I'm not buying it. I don't think they're going to be that good. And I'm not going to magically bet on Russ, drinking some Sean Payton elixir, and bam, he's back to Super Russ again. Let him cook. I'm not buying that. And so I will not be taking them to do well. And also, their jerseys are horrendous. Horrendous. No one addresses about the fact that the Broncos look awful. They went away from bright blue and went to that navy blue. And ever since then, it has looked terrible. Like the Tim Tebow days, awful jerseys. And then they're like, okay, well, instead of doing navy with orange, we'll do orange with navy. Still looks awful. They got to completely rework everything. I mean, it looks terrible. It's funny because in the NFL, there's only 2 teams that use orange. It's the Bengals and the Broncos. There's not a single other. Well, I guess the Dolphins have some accent orange. And the Bears. The Bears. And the Bears have started to shift. They use a lot more orange than they used to. They're using less navy. Well, okay, here's the thing. So the Bears and Broncos, that's what a better point. The Bears and Broncos have the same color scheme. Think about how much better the Bears look than the Broncos. Like, you never thought about this. I know you listening right now, you're going, oh, he's right. That's weird. I have never thought about they have the exact same color scheme. The exact same color set. I mean, exact same. Maybe the navy for the Bears is a little darker. That's really the only difference. The oranges are practically the same. They use navy and orange and with a little bit of white. And the Bears look so much better. Even in their blue uniforms, they look better. In their orange uniforms, they look better. I mean, I had a picture of Justin Fields up during the NFC playoff predictions. Look how much better that uniform looks than anything the Broncos have ever wore. Come on, man. Just come on. Okay. AFC North. Bengals number 1 at 11-6. I don't care. Burrow's going to be out maybe for like the first 2 games. He's the second best quarterback in football. Third is Jalen Hurts. Number 1 is Mahomes. That's the reality of the situation. This team is really good. Second is the Ravens, 10-7. Lamar Jackson is going to have a big year. He can stay healthy. The Ravens are a Super Bowl contender, but they're not better than the Bengals. Third is the Steelers, 9-8. I'm not betting against big Mike Tomlin. I'm not going to do it. I refuse. I refuse to believe Mike Tomlin is going to have a losing record, especially when this team is better than the team last year. He's going to win like not every. Take it back. Hold up. Bring it back. Tomlin has yet to have a losing record with the Steelers. This team is better than the team last year. He's going to win a lot of games that are in the division because it always seems like Mike, really sits down and looks at the interdivision games and really pays attention to those. It's like he knows it means a little bit more when you beat a division rival, and I think he's got a smart game plan. I will say they opened the season against the Niners. Don't be surprised if the Steelers win. This feels like the Steelers are always super ready week 1. Last year they beat the Bengals week 1. Tomlin always locks in. One of the best coaches in the NFL, like genuinely in the conversation. It's got to be like right now on this day. Like Bill is like probably the GOAT. Bill's up there all time. But I mean right now, best coaches in the league, it's got to be Reed, Shanahan, Sirianni, and Tomlin. Why couldn't I say his name? Why couldn't I say? Why couldn't I remember Tomlin's name? I was just talking about him. I don't know who the 5th one would be. I think you have to put Sirianni in there just from how quickly. Oh, I'd say Dan Campbell, but that's me personally. Actually, no, Pete Carroll. also in the conversation. Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah. I would say, honestly, a part of me would rather say, like, the top 5 is Reed, Shanahan, Tomlin, Carroll, and Campbell. But I think Sirianni has done well with the Eagles. A part of me just thinks the Eagles are so good, how much credit should Sirianni get? A lot of it is roster. But, I really shouldn't take away from the fact that he is the coach. But I am pretty much taking away from Zach Taylor. I didn't give Zach Taylor any credit, even though he turned the Bengals around real quick. I just give Burrow all the credit. But I think most people does, even including the media. You never hear anybody go, man, Zach Taylor. Woo. It's kind of like one of my favorite movies, Beverly Hills Cop. No one's ever like, man, Martin Brest did great work in that movie. No, it's Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy makes that movie. Martin Brest wasn't sitting there cooking up a classic. I don't know. It's just funny. Some movies, certain directors and certain movies, you're like, the director, excellent. In other movies, you just completely don't even look at who directed it. You're just like, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, same way with some NFL teams. All right, third, like I said, Steelers 9-8. Last, that means, are the Browns 7-10. I know. I got to keep my voice down. Not that far from Cleveland. I could get attacked. I don't expect Deshaun to be elite. I don't. I really don't. I think he's taken too much time off. I would be shocked. Shocked if he looks like the talent the Browns think they're getting. I don't think it's going to be that way. I hope Chubb can handle taking more carries. Yeah, because Kareem's gone, so I really hope Chubb can handle all that. Trying to think. What else? Gosh. What else was really to say about the Browns? Myles Garrett, the defense is going to be pretty good. But, we're going to see what goes on with this team. Like I said, Thompson Robinson looked really good in preseason. Maybe he'll get some snaps at some point when they're getting blown out. That's horrible. I said 7-10. They're not going to be awful. It's just kind of a shame. It looked like the Browns were on the upturn, like they're going to be a Super Bowl level team, like not too far away, and then now I feel like they're just kind of mediocre. And to me, it's more fun when they're either awful and trying to be great than just mediocre, because then you're never going to get anywhere. Then you're a treadmill team. You're just mediocre for the next 10 years. You're never bad enough to get anybody good. You're never good enough to get anybody bad. Sorry. Ugh. You're never good enough to win anything, and you're never bad enough to get good. That's a problem. The terrible in-between state now. And in my opinion, I would rather be watching a terrible football team that's eventually, going to have a lot of great players because of it than a mediocre team forever, like the Vikings. I would hate to be a Vikings fan. It's just pain. Even some of my friends that are whoa, I just kicked my desk really hard. Even some of my friends that are Bills fans feel that way, where they're just like, every year it's a divisional loss. Like, yeah. It's funny because the NFL media really hyped up the Ravens. It's going to be like, it's going to be Mahomes and Lamar going at it for years. It's going to be every AFC championship. Then it was like, no, Lamar's good, but he's not doing that. And then it's like, it's going to be the Bills and the Chiefs. That's going to be the big rivalry. That's it. These teams are going to be going at it for years. No, the Chiefs pretty much own them. And it's the Bengals, which the media never thought was going to be that team. And the Bengals are the ones that have become, the Chiefs' main enemy. And so it'll be really interesting. I do have the rubber match the third time they're going to meet up in this playoff prediction, and we'll see who I take. Okay, here we go. Let's move over to awards, and then we'll do playoffs. All right? So MVP, I was tempted to go Burrow. I was tempted to go Trevor Lawrence, but I'm going to go Hurts. He was really close last year, and I think a 13-4 record with the Eagles in a division that is going to be really solid. I think it's going to be really impressive, so I got to give it to Hurts. I think Hurts is going to have a great year statistically, and I could just see it happening. He was really close last year. Offensive Player of the Year, I went Saquon Barkley. He's got a lot to prove. I think he's really going to step up. They're going to have a winning record. They're going to make the playoffs. He'll have great stats, Saquon. Defensive Player of the Year. This is tough. I just went Sauce Gardner because I love him. I'll be honest. I probably should have went with an edge rusher. It usually seems to go to them, but I gave it to Sauce Gardner because I love Sauce Gardner. And I think the Jets are going to have a winning record, and he's going to have great stats. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bryce Young. winning a division, having good stats. I think he's just going to look like the best quarterback that's a rookie out there. I do think the only other one I would think about picking is Anthony Richardson. I do think it's going to be a quarterback, especially since there's 3 guys in starting jobs as QBs, and Levis has a chance to eventually start, so potentially 4. But I do think it's going to go Bryce Young. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Will Anderson for obvious reasons. That dude's legit. Coach of the Year, I really thought about going Dan Campbell, but I think I'm going to go Doug Peterson. 12-5, division winner. Obviously, they won the division last year, but it's not going to be as impressive as this year. This year, they're going to have a really strong record, and I think there'll just be a lot of good energy towards them. I think going into the playoffs, if everything turns out the way I'm talking about, with the Jaguars as the number 1 seed, there's going to be a lot of people talking about them maybe going to the Super Bowl, and he would get Coach of the Year for how quickly he turned them around from the terrible situation they were in of Urban Meyer. Let's do AFC playoffs first, since we did NFC standings first. Wild card, we got the number 2 Chiefs over the number 7 Chargers. Mahomes beating Herbert hurts my heart, but it's going to happen. We got the number 3 Bengals playing the number 6 Dolphins. Got to take the Bengals there. And then we got the number 5 Ravens against the number 4 Bills. I'm going to take the Ravens here. I think the Bills didn't improve, and I think they're going to be worse this year. I mean, I do have them winning their division, obviously, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills had a really down year and didn't even win their division. I don't really think the Bills have improved at all, and I think that's always scary when a team that the team doesn't improve, no matter what happens. I mean, even if you win the Super Bowl, you should probably try to improve your team. So I'm a little concerned there. And so, yeah, I'm taking the Ravens to beat them because I love Lamar, and I think this Ravens team has improved, whereas I think the Bills haven't. So, divisional, I got the Jaguars versus the Ravens. I'm very tempted to go Ravens here. I'm going to take the Jaguars. I think they take the week off, and I think this Jaguars team to be really good this year. And then on the other side, we have Bengals-Chiefs. In my mind, this is the real AFC Championship this year, and it's the rubber match. Third time's the last. I mean, it probably won't be the last time we see these 2 face off. The 2 best quarterbacks in the league going at it. Pretty much whoever wins this is going to the Super Bowl, and I'm taking the Bengals, baby. I think Burrow's locked in. AFC Championship, we got Jaguars-Bengals. Why did I say it so weird? Jaguars-Bengals, Battle of the Cats. Burrow versus Trevor. They're going to show some college footage. It'll be awesome. But it's going to be the same result as in college. Bengals over Jaguars. Burrow's going to the Super Bowl, baby. Joe Burr. Joe Shiesty going back. NFC playoffs. Number 1 seed is the Eagles. They got a bye. So we got the number 2 Seahawks playing the number 7 Bears. Seahawks obviously here. That's a good team. Bears are just kind of happy to be there. Number 3 Lions facing the number 6 Giants. This one's interesting. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I am going to take the Lions over the Giants. Number 4 Panthers versus the number 5 Niners. This probably won't be much of a game. Niners are going to destroy the Panthers. That's that. All right, divisional. We have Eagles versus Niners and Lions versus Seahawks. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Niners. This arguably the 2 best teams in the NFC. And I want to take the Niners like really badly. But I'm going to go Eagles here. I think they're hungry to be back in the Super Bowl. And then Seahawks-Lions, that'll be a great game. But I'm going to take the Lions. Realistically, these 4 teams, I think, all have a good shot to be in the Super Bowl. The Seahawks, Lions, Eagles, Niners. I know the Lions is the craziest take out of all these, but guess what? I'm taking them to beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship. I'm going crazy this year. I'm putting the Lions in the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 58. We got a battle between Cincinnati and Detroit, and the Super Bowl is all the way in Vegas. It's crazy. NFL marketing team doesn't even know what they're doing. They're so happy that Joe Burrow has become ultra popular because now they have to market the Lions versus the Bengals in Vegas, baby. Super Bowl 58. Don't know who the halftime show is going to be, and I know it's not going to be Morgan Wallen, which means it's a failure. Because if you did the Morgan Wallen halftime show, that would be awesome. But they're not going to do it, so, whatever. Super Bowl 58, Bengals-Lions, you know who I'm taking. It's going to be the Bengals, baby. Joe Burrow is going to get his first ever Super Bowl win. He's going to start it. He's going to get his first win, and that's going to be awesome. And then all the conversation is going to happen. Who's better, him or Mahomes? And it's going to be a tale that goes on for the rest of their careers. Joe Burrow, now, Heisman winner, college football playoff champ. Why did I say it like that? National champion in college football. and Super Bowl MVP Joe Burrow wins Super Bowl 58 in Vegas 2 years after losing in LA. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think I'm going to love it. I think I'm going to lose my mind when the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. And I think the entire state of Ohio will come crashing down. And it's going to be awesome. So I know a lot of guys that are Bengals fans. Mike, this one's for you. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I know the Lions is a bit of a crazy take, but guess what? It's my show. Like I said earlier, it's my show, damn it. I'm going to do what I want. I don't know why I have such, hostile energy. I feel very calm and at peace. My chakras are aligned. I actually don't know what chakras are. I just said that because I thought it was funny. In college football news, the Colorado Buffalo are already a lock to win the national championship. So, then there's that. Also, Travis Hunter is the greatest college football athlete to ever exist. Okay, I think that's everything I needed to cover. I hope you enjoyed. And, yeah, Super Bowl 56, Bengals, baby, winning it. And it'll be awesome. We got the Colorado Buffalo winning the national championship, and then we got the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl. Also, Bengals, the Bears made a great move. They changed their logo to the actual bear. Why don't you change your logo to the actual Bengal? Because everybody knows the letter for a pro sports team is supposed to be the city, and you guys didn't get the memo. You made B for Bengals, even though you're in C, Cincinnati. You're incredibly disappointing that way. I hate looking at the big B, but here's the thing. If you made it a C now, everybody would be like, what are we doing? That's weird. I hate it. So you know what you should do? You get that little Bengal cat that's going like, rawr. That's going to get... I can't believe I just went rawr on the pod. Whatever. You get that little Bengal cat, make that your main logo. It looks way better. Also, you don't even put the B on your helmets anyway. You already don't have it on there, so it's not like you have to change your helmets. Just make your logo, your main logo, the cat, because it looks way better, and everyone would love it, especially when you win Super Bowl 58. All right, see you all in the next one. Also, Quinn told me a Super Bowl prediction. He had Steelers over Eagles. Everyone, please watch out. He's delusional. All right, thank you. See you all in the next one.